Hey guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. Please pardon the weird camera angle. I know it kind of looks like I'm looking off to the camera. I apologize. I am actually charging my camera while I'm filming this video, so that's why I'm not looking directly at the camera. It's very hard because it has to be near an electrical outlet, and I am actually trying to run an extension cord. It's not working too well. So we're just going to deal with the weird camera angle for this video. A question that I want to answer, and this is a question that a lot of you have reached out to me wanting an answer of, is, Sean, I understand that you, other antique experts, have stated that during an economic recession, prices on certain collectible categories should fall. Whether they fall 5, 10, 15, 20% is anybody's guess. But overall, certain collecting categories should drop in price during an economic recession. So why then, right now, are we seeing inflation occurring in a lot of these collectible markets? And some of these collectible markets aren't even established. They're speculative. Items like vintage video games, Pokemon cards, vintage toys, Magic the Gathering cards. A lot of these items right now are experiencing massive growth for a lot of modern era mass-produced products, when in all actuality, prices should be down across the board, should they not? Well, to answer your question, number one, we are in a recession. But number two, these are not normal recessionary times. Let me explain, guys. If you look at the history of the United States, at any other time during the history of the United States, when we hit a massive economic recession or downturn, when was the last time you remember the federal government paid the average person $600 extra a week to sit at home rather than go to work? I'll answer that for you. That has never occurred in the history of the United States. That has never occurred, guys. Even during the 2008, the 2009 financial crisis, the biggest thing we did for the unemployed was we extended unemployment benefits for several weeks, several months at a particular time. But we never gave the unemployed more money than what they were entitled to in that unemployment compensation insurance, if you know what I mean. In other words, we never paid them a premium to sit at home rather than work or go and look for a job. Now, I'm not against this policy at all. Matter of fact, I think it's time that we do bail out the average person. I have friends, I have family members that were affected by the coronavirus, and as a result, they are using that extra $600 a week to pay their rent, to pay their mortgage, to go and buy stuff that they need rather than stuff that they want. On the other end of the spectrum, though, you do have people that are taking full advantage of this situation. Rather than pay down debt, rather than invest, they're going out and they're buying Magic the Gathering booster boxes. They're buying Pokemon cards. They're buying video games. They're buying toys and the like. Well, all that is taking its toll on the collectibles market. By nature, guys, the antiques and collectibles trade does not exist in a vacuum. I know a lot of you out there that just have a passion to collect this stuff. You don't care about the economic side of the equation. You don't care about the finance side of the equation. You want to think, you know what? I collect Pokemon because I love Pokemon. Or I collect coins solely because I collect coins. Or I collect toys because I love toys. I don't care about any other factors that are affecting these markets. Well, the one thing you got to understand is that by and large, the antiques and collectibles trade has become a viable alternate asset class onto its own. So what's happening is when something affects the overall economic situation in a positive or negative manner, it by nature spills over into alternate assets. Whether we're talking cryptocurrency, whether we're talking gold, silver, commodities. Look what happened to oil over the past several months. It's insane. Same thing with antiques and collectibles and even real estate. None of these markets are immune, guys. Now, why is this occurring? Well, at present time, we have the Fed that is also interfering with the financial markets. They're going in and they're worried about liquidity. So they're buying up corporate debt. They're buying up stocks. They're buying up ETFs. And they're also propping up the financial markets. Now, what this is leading to is something called asset price inflation. I'm going to give you guys a very basic definition of asset price inflation, and this is from Wikipedia. This is a very accurate definition, though. Asset price inflation is an economic phenomenon denoting a rise in the price of assets as opposed to ordinary goods and services. So instead of regular inflation, meaning you go to the grocery store and you're used to paying $1.50 for a dozen eggs, you're now paying $1.75. Rather than inflation occurring across the board on goods and services, measured by the CPI, Consumer Price Index, which you don't have to agree with. I consider the Consumer Price Index to be extremely flawed when we try to measure inflation. However, some people swear by it. So, rather than inflation hitting basic goods and services, it is hitting assets. Now, me being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and I'm kind of being facetious with that because I'm really not much of a conspiracy theorist at all. But what I will tell you is that's actually planned. Who owns the financial assets in America or even in the world overall in a capitalistic system? The wealthy and the elite. The wealthy and the elite also, whether or not you agree with this or not, choose our politicians who run for office and sometimes who win that political office as well. The elite like propping up their own assets. So it makes sense for when something goes wrong in the economic markets for the people who own a lot of stocks, bonds, securities, collectibles, real estate, traditional antiques, all these particular asset classes, it makes sense that they want them to appreciate in value. So what's the easiest way to do that? Well, engage in monetary policy that utilizes asset price inflation as the basis. Now, before you criticize me for being biased, I want to state this was done during the 2008-2009 financial crisis, and it's also being done today. And to be fair, during the 2008-2009 financial crisis, you had a Democrat in office. Today, you have a Republican in office. So, I ask the average person sitting out there, scratching his head, wondering why prices on not only stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, real estate are all stabilizing or in some cases moving up. But why do you think collectible and antique prices are moving right now? Well, not only do you have asset price inflation, but you also have the wonderful government that decided to give each of the unemployed people out there an extra $600 a week. Do you really think Timmy Poindexter Jr. is saving or investing that $600 a week? Let's be realistic here. If he's investing that $600 a week, he's one of these people that downloaded the Robinhood app on his cell phone, and he's buying bankrupt companies like Hertz Rental Company, which he thinks are a good monetary investment for the long term. Now, I hope I don't have to do a video as to why buying stocks in bankrupt companies for the average investor out there is not good long-term investing sense. If I have to, let me know in the comment section below, and I will do a video on that. But in the interim, we have people like Timmy Poindexter Jr., who are not only downloading the Robinhood app and making horrible financial decisions, but they're also going after Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering cards, collectibles, board games, and also vintage toys, which is in turn causing a massive price bubble to appear in some of these modern era products. So that is why when you guys reach out to me and ask me, hey Sean, how come prices for collectibles right now are going through the roof when you and every collectible and antique expert out there pretty much told me that during a recession, most prices for pop culture-based collectibles will pull back regardless of asset class. Well, how come right now that's not happening? It's because these are not normal recessionary times. You have the Fed, you have the federal government, and something called asset price inflation to blame for this particular phenomenon. Thank you for watching. I hope this answered your question. I would love to get your feedback on this video. Was it too in-depth in finance? Was it too in-depth in economics? Or could have I expanded it further? Let me know in the comment section below, guys. Thank you and good night.